Hello, Peabody friends. It's Miss Bloom here. And guess what? I heard that some of our Peabody friends are learning right now about trees. And I love trees, and I have some tree books here that I brought from Peabody. And one of them that I'm going to read today is about a very special tree that I saw years ago when I lived in Africa. This tree doesn't exist here in the United States of America. It's mostly in Africa and Madagascar, a few places like that. And I think you're going to find it very interesting. It's a very unusual tree, but lots of things happen in its branches. So let's get started. Our book is called This is the Tree, a story of the Baobab. Now look at that front cover. Have you ever seen a tree that looked like that? Maybe you have in a movie or a documentary. Do you see how big its trunk is, how wide it is? Some people call it the upside down tree, which is based on an old story. Now, our author is Miriam Moss. She wrote the words. The illustrator is Adrian Kenaway. And the publishing company that made the whole book come together is Kane Miller Publishing. So let's get started. Oh, this is what the title page looks like. And I see do you see those big leaves? And look at this. I think we're going to learn about that. And I'll bet you're learning about something that we can eat from trees. We call it fruit. And that looks like it might be the fruit of a baobab tree. We'll learn about that. This is the tree when the world was still young that pushed up through the earth as a small tender shoot. This is the tree now old as a volcano standing alone on the African plain. So you can see you're looking right under the belly of an elephant. And over here you can see another elephant, and through the legs you can see a baobab tree. And it sounds like it's very old, like this volcano that you see over here. Baobab trees live for a very long time. This is the tree with the 1,000-year roots that spread out to store water in a bottle-shaped trunk. This is the tree where ground squirrel watches over young, small as mushrooms, asleep in the roots. Wow, look at all that activity happening in and around her roots. You see the ground squirrel and the little babies, and it looks like some insects and lizards. So much activity. And did you hear them say this tree could be 1,000 years old? That's a very old tree. This is the tree with far-reaching branches and cool shady places for impala to dance in. This is the tree where buffalo chooses to sit sleepily chewing in the heat of the day. Wow, these are animals we don't see in America unless we see them at the zoo. These are impala. They might look a little bit like a deer to you, and look at their beautiful antlers. And they're so graceful, and they can jump and they can run. And then here is the buffalo. Let me show you really close up. Do you see the horns on that buffalo, how they're curled up? The buffalo is enjoying the shade because in Africa it can be so hot. And what about these animals here? I think they start with the letter Z. If you said zebra, you are right. Ooh, and before we turn the page, look what we have here. Beautiful yellow birds. And I see that fruit that we saw on the front cover hanging from the branches. This is the tree that tosses and turns when high winds howl and the sky turns black. This is the tree dripping after the storm with dark stained wrinkles on knuckles and knees. Wow. You see the zebras now up close. And here's a beautiful bird and some animals that are trying to stay dry from the rainstorm. In parts of Africa, you don't get a lot of rain, but when it rains, it can be a strong rain. And other parts of Africa have more rain. Ooh, I see a lizard here too. Do you see that lizard climbing up? Let's see here. This is the tree with a huge rounded belly, all lacy with shadows in a sea of new grass. This is the tree that the tribespeople visit to cut bark, spilling insects on red beaten earth. Oh, here's some animals we haven't seen yet. They start with the letter G. Did you say giraffe? You're right. Miss Bloom lived in Africa long ago, as I mentioned, and I was able to climb a mountain and I saw a real giraffe on our trail. They were so amazing, and they have an extra joint in their legs, so when they run, it's really beautiful. They're so graceful. And these are tribespeople who live in the area of this baobab, and they know that they can get some insects, important insects that they need. And even though they're cutting the bark, this magic baobab tree can repair its bark. So they do just enough for what they need, and then the tree is able to heal itself. All right. This is the tree that is Elephant's favorite, that she scars with rough tusk marks to get to the core. This is the tree, a dangle with fruit pods, that Elephant crushes to slurp up the pulp. So the elephants love the baobab tree. They get to the inside of the trunk, and they also like to eat the fruit, called a fruit pod. This is the tree along whose silver branches chameleon treads slowly, searching for flies. This is the tree where turako bird nests and where snake snoozes softly with one beady eye. Wow, so many animals love the baobab tree. Here's the snake snoozing. And there's that beautiful bird and the chameleon waiting to catch some flies. This is the tree that bush baby burgles, plucking white waxy petals with fingers and toes. This is the tree that dances with monkeys, alive with their leapings at the end of the day. So this tree produces beautiful white flowers before the yellow fruit grows, and bush babies like to, what did it say? They like the petals. They must eat some of those flower petals. Isn't that interesting? Look at those monkeys having a great time at the end of the day. They must sleep in the baobab tree. This is the tree where leopard lies darkly, her eyes only glistening as bats flitter by. This is the tree in the silvery moonlight that points long crooked toes to a sharp slice of moon. There's a leopard resting as the sun goes down and the moon goes up, and bats. This is the tree old as a volcano, the upside down tree of the African plain. This is the baobab tree. And there you can see the whole tree with elephants nearby. Wow. And then on these 2 pages, there's some interesting information. Let's read just a little bit. The African baobab is also called the monkey bread tree because baboons love eating its fruit, and the bottle tree because of its enormous swollen trunk. 2,000-year-old baobabs can have fantastic girths of 30 meters in diameter. Wow. So they can live to be 2,000 years old. Baobab leaves are not just eaten by cattle, which are cows, browsing elephants, and impala. They are rich in vitamin C and can be cooked like spinach or dried and made into soups and sauces. The leaves are also used as medicine to treat fevers and insect bites. Wow. Baobab flowers are large, white, and waxy with big yellow stamens. They begin to open around sunset, but only last until the next morning. They give off a strong, rotting smell which attracts bats, bluebottles, and nocturnal moths. Wow. So the flowers are pretty cool too. Baobab fruits are woody hanging pods covered in velvety yellow-brown hair. The seeds in ripe fruit are held in place by delicious sweet white pulp that tastes just like wine gums. I don't know what a wine gum is. When the heavy fruits fall from the tree, the woody casing cracks open and termites eat the fruit, leaving the seeds to be carried away by monkeys, baboons, squirrels, and rats. Wow. The baobab is home to many other insects and birds in addition to those mentioned in this book. King baboon spiders, bees, mealybugs, caterpillars, and stick insects all live in the tree. Parrots, hornbills, kingfishers roost or nest in holes in the trunk, while lovebirds, barn owls, and Wahlberg eagles nest in the branches. And dangling out on the ends of the highest branches, far away from predators, are the little buffalo weaver birds' round basket nests. How cool is that? Baobab roots can be cooked and eaten or made into red dye. They are also made into a dried powder to take as a medicine for malaria or as a mouthwash for a toothache. And baobab wood is very spongy. It's full of stored water. It is used to make plates, trays, and floats for fishing. And lastly, baobab bark is extraordinary because when it is cut or damaged, it heals itself. Root bark is used to make strings for musical instruments or rope for making fishing nets. In parts of Africa, the fibers are woven into waterproof hats that are also used as drinking cups. So baobab bark is just like our skin. If it gets an ouchie, it can fix itself. How cool is that? And that, my friends, is the end of our story called This is the Tree, a story of the baobab. Thank you so much for listening.